Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts, and today we're looking at the Arctic Commandos Royal Marines. Now, I've actually had a chance to work with these guys when I was in Norway back in the late 80s, 1988, I think. Worked with a lot of British soldiers, actually. Worked with the King's Own Royal Border Regiment when we were in Croatia, Bosnia, when we were in Bosnia. So got a lot of history with the British forces. So and respect for all of them. So let's take a look. Oh, that's nice.
The stunning landscapes of northern Norway
Oh, hey,
are also some of the most brutal, unforgiving places.
So I was there, like I said, I was there in 1988 was the first time that I went over there. And I was just barely a year in battalion at this point. Well, no, a year in the Army at this point. I had only been in battalion maybe 3 months, I think, at this point. And when they say it's an unforgiving place for military forces, oh my God, is that ever true? It was tough. I remember the ice be on the roads being so thick, you couldn't pick through it, and they didn't even try. It was nuts.
As a military force can operate.
Yeah, that's so true.
It is here that Royal Marines Commandos have been training alongside Norwegian armed forces to keep the Corps at the forefront of operations in one of the world's harshest environments.
Yeah, so we did a combined arms exercise with them. The Marines actually were there. Norwegians were there. I think the Danish were there. We were there. Oh, the Luxembourgers were there too. I remember that because I got to eat at their mess. They had a good mess. I think the Americans were there. Like, it was a big, it was a NATO exercise. It was a big one.
Environments. The Norwegian-led exercise Cold Response.
Oh, that's cool. That's a BB-206. That the first place we ever used them was there. Very, very cool.
Sees the largest UK deployment of Royal Navy ships, helicopters, and commandos for nearly a decade, underlining our commitment to security in the region.
Job.
A commitment that can be traced back to World War II, when daring raids took place in Nazi-occupied Norway. The lessons learned here are now firmly embedded into commando tradition.
Yep.
Now, Arctic operating still remains absolutely key.
So those are mountain touring skis. We use them in Canada also. Ours are a little bit different. Those seem, well, I don't know. When I was in, ours were a little bit different. Those seem to be slightly more high-tech than the ones that we used. The ones that we used were basically just plastic half boots. But they were still strapped basically at the toe, and your heel could come up. You couldn't really go side to side very much, but you could go up and down.
As the Royal Marines
Oh, cool. Full winter cam, which is nice to see.
undergo modernisation and restructuring as part of future commando force development.
Oh,
4-5 Commando,
nice.
the Royal Marines experts in extreme cold
Yeah, we
weather
did
warfare,
some of this. It
have
is
been testing
not
themselves along the
fun
jagged and
in
wild
that
coastline
weather.
of northern Norway and putting into practice future commando force small team tactics to strike at the heart of the enemy. Throughout this year's winter test,
It's interesting that everybody's talking about small team tactics now. We concentrated much more on, well, section was the smallest we go to, but really, practically it would be platoon and even company.
fighting companies combined with the wide range of specialists that make up 3 Commando Brigade. These skilled commandos trained to operate vehicles, technology, and weapon systems that make up.
Look at that. That looks like a, it's either a machine gun live fire or a machine gun course. Actually, it looks like there's 2 different types of weapons there. These 3 look like 50 cals. I don't know what that is. That's pretty interesting, actually.
Up the backbone of modern warfare are key to gaining the upper hand in the Arctic against modern adversaries.
So my I got a buddy, Uncle Schneb from Schneb's Garage on YouTube. You should go check out his channel. I'm still trying to convince him to come on to this channel because he's got a bunch of stories from Norway. Actually, a lot of guys have a bunch of stories from Norway. There was one attack. Well, actually, there's two different attacks, actually. There was one where we spent 3 days trying to get up the side of a mountain. That was not fun. But the other one, we had snowshoed in the middle of the night. We assaulted a position and we took the position, but then the counterattack came in. And it's my understanding that our anti-armor platoon took out their armored reinforcements, but they had a battalion. We were a company, and they had a battalion advancing on us. Now, generally, you can repel that as long as you've got the ammunition that you need and you've got good fields of fire, right? We took over their weapons, their heavy weapons, and we were firing blanks, so they had blank firing attachments on the weapons. Even on the 50 cals. The 50 cal had a blank firing attachment. The only time I've ever seen a BFA on a 50 cal. And they were firing plastic cased rounds, which I had never seen before either. One of our master corporals, I was a private at the time, one of our master corporals took over one of their guns and started firing it. The BFA came off and shot across the river. Oh, man. And then we tried to bring in reinforcements, and we tried to helicopter them in because we're an air assault battalion. Problem was, the idiot pilots, they came down this fjord and literally flew in front of the enemy's fire base up around the end of the fjord, and then came back down and flew in front of them again. So as soon as they touched down behind our position, all of the people who were running the exercise, they went over and they said, "You're all dead. Don't even bother getting out of the helicopters. Every one of you is dead." So what we did was we ran back and we took all of their ammunition off of them and brought it back up so that we could keep on fighting. Oh, man. That was a good exercise. Oh, it was cold, though.
4-7 Commando Raiding Group utilise small, fast raiding boats that bring fire and fury of the Green Berets to the shore from the sea. 2-9 Commando Royal Artillery JTACs control jets and Apache attack helicopters from covert observation posts.
Very
use
cool.
artillery to provide fire support as commando forces forge forward into contested territory.
Yeah, hard to dig the
30 Commando Information Exploitation Groups Surveillance and Reconnaissance Squadron take on their own special...
So I don't know what kind this is. We used Bombardier snow machines, or I don't know. It's not a snowmobile because that's a brand name, but ours were Bombardier. We use those a lot. We used to actually, on the skis, they would tow a rope behind the skidoos, and we would hold on to that, and they would tow. One of those things would tow an entire section. That was kind of cool, as long as you didn't fall down.
Missions. This time from the sky, SRS undertook a 150-kilometre mission across the Arctic wilds. Armoured Support Group bring the Viking armoured vehicles, providing firepower and protection, while Commando Logistics Regiment keeps commandos moving through the snow, and Commando Helicopter Force provide air support. But despite modern technology and the physical robust...
Oh, there you go. See, we did a lot of that, both on skis and on snowshoes, and in Norway. In fact, when we were in Norway, I was part of the biathlon team. There was a competition while we were there because there were so many NATO countries there. And it was basically a ski and shoot, right? We were rucked up like this with our skis on, and we would, I think we were rucked up. We might not have been rucked up, actually. We might have been without the ruck. And it was, I think it was a 20-mile, or 20 kilometer or 20-mile ski, and then a shoot. And we put in 2 different teams for that, and we came first and second. In fact, and this is the one I'm fond of. My team went out. The teams would go out at 10-minute intervals. My team went out 10 minutes after the Italian Alpinis, and we caught them just before the halfway mark on the way up the mountain. And then the halfway mark, you start coming down the mountain, which is a lot more fun. But they had actually, when they saw us, that we had caught up with them, they actually sat down on the side and started brewing up tea or something. I don't know what it was. Coffee, whatever. They just kind of gave up. It was weird.
Robustness of the Royal Marines. You cannot underestimate the power of the environment. Below freezing temperatures, lack of daylight, and difficult terrain are only a few of the challenges to be faced.
Yeah, that. Oh, they're doing it on a BB-206, so obviously more power. It can pull a lot more people, but yeah, same thing. That's pretty cool.
Survive in Arctic conditions is key. The survival phase of training includes learning how to construct snow shelters, navigating by the stars, and how to trap animals in a survival situation. It concludes with the infamous ice-breaking drills.
What's that?
Commandos have to plunge into a hole in the ice and climb out the water and testing their ability to recognize cold.
We did something similar to that on our recce course, and it was in December back in Canada, so it was pretty cold. But we did not do that on any of our winter warfare courses, basic or advanced, and not when we were in Norway either. Like that's hardcore stuff right there.
Shock, correctly administer themselves, and then continue the fight. Commandos are then trained how to navigate their way through difficult terrain, allowing them to...
Oh, I cannot tell you how many times I've done that. And you're getting covered in snow. It's nuts. That guy's missing his cam cover for his backpack. So, if it wasn't snowing, this would look a lot better. The guys in back there that have their cam whites on the bottom and then no cam whites on the top, that's actually on purpose, right? Because if it wasn't snowing and the trees weren't full of snow, the snow on the bottom and then the trees on the top, you actually blend in a lot better. The fact that it's actually snowing kind of breaks all of that, but it's good. It's a good practice, actually.
To reach far into enemy territory across deep snow or frozen lakes and rivers.
Oh, so this is similar. Okay, the only difference is, they've got tiller bars on both the front and the back, and I don't know why. So we had, if you see this, he's got the tiller bars going up, and then there's a line attached to the guy in front of him. So we just had rope, not a tiller bar going up in the front. So we had rope to two guys, and the tiller bar was actually in the back. Yeah, there's no guy in the back. So we had two guys in the front pulling, and then one guy in the back pushing and steering on the tiller bar. And sometimes the gear we could put in there was it got pretty high, pretty heavy. We had to have our tent, our stoves. There'd be a 2-burner stove. In these conditions, actually, we had 2 single burner stoves plus a lantern plus all of our fuel, our water, all of our rations for the entire section, plus extra winter rations. Plus extra winter rations, and then the guys had their rucks with all of their cold weather gear. So there's a lot of kit you got to carry in the winter.
Restricted terrain and challenging...
Oh, they were using bear paws too. We use much, much, much bigger snowshoes.
Weather of northern Norway makes the ability to maneuver faster, further, and through areas potential adversaries cannot, of vital importance to commando forces.
Yeah, if you can move through that terrain, like if you don't know how to move through that terrain, you're done, right? But if you do know how to move through it, man, it can be effective.
All these skills remain vital as Royal Marines forge a path towards the future commando force.
Yeah, so some very cool stuff. Didn't really show much of how the Marines do things. Kind of another one of those propaganda videos, but still very cool. And yeah, very, very similar to a lot of the things that we learned and we did in 1RCR again. But, I mean, I suppose that's to be expected, right? Most militaries do, mostly similar things. But I like the video. Looked like some cool guys. So This video was actually recommended by one of my viewers. I'm not going to mention who it is because I don't have permission, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. And if any of you have a video that you'd like to recommend that I review, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll take a look at it. I can't guarantee I'm going to review everyone, but I will at least look at it. Please leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends about me, all that stuff. Take care, guys. See you in the next one.